I think taking any data from the Chargers versus Dolphins game is folly. I think it's foolish. I think it's silly. And to try to apply it to this, because Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike McDaniel, they present a different threat to a defense. So, of course, that possibly they play a lot of man coverage. And they may still play man coverage, but they're going to probably play a lot of man coverage. They're also probably not going to send a lot of blitzes and pressures to Tua because they have to cover everything else. So that means that Tua has a nice, clean pocket. That means that Tua has a shorter time to throw, a very quick time to throw. But that's because of the game plan when you are facing the Miami Dolphins. Now, if Teddy Bridgewater, or I think they have Skylar Thompson as their third quarterback, was out there, you would see an entirely different game plan. And I hate to throw Ryan Tannehill into the group of those guys, but a smart Los Angeles Chargers team, and I'm not so sure they are, but a smart Los Angeles Chargers team isn't going to treat this collection of pass catchers and this quarterback the same they would the Dolphins. That's just not there. And the Dolphins and the Titans aren't going to attack their defense the same way. So to me, bringing in all these stats from week one from either side doesn't make a lick of difference. I can sit here all day and say, well, the data says that the Titans are the 16th best offensive line from aggregate data sources. They're the 5th best of pass block win rate. That doesn't matter because now they're not going up against Charles Granderson and old Cam Jordan. They're going up against Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. They're going to have Asante Samuel on the outside. They're going to have Derwin James as a safety. They're going against an entirely, on paper, better defense. Now, what we have seen from the Chargers, not always what is better translates. And specifically, for whatever reason, Mike Vrabel does not give a flying fuck about your high-flying offense. And he'll play you. He'll wear you down. And it's going to be a 3 or 1 point game, like you've kind of historically alluded to, 1-score games. But he does something to the Chargers typically that he does to the Chiefs. Something, and listen, they are coming to the Tennessee, right? That is why you see that the home team almost always wins because of that traveling. That is hard to do. That's hard to be the away team and go and travel that many miles and put up a win and put up a W. So they're coming here. So they're going to be a little sluggish. Austin Eckler may not be available. And if he is not available, that's a huge thing for the Tennessee Titans. You know, I understand there's an injury report that came out yesterday. Well, I'll say it again for anybody on this show that may have not heard it last week. I don't give a shit about Wednesday injury reports.
Yeah.
There could be do not practice, limited practice, and they play on Sunday. We see it all the time in Tennessee. I will say this. If someone that is injured, like Dylan Radins, who missed a game last week and wasn't active, and he comes back and practices yesterday and is injured today, that is something to take note of. It's the transition from day to day. There is nothing to take away until today's injury report comes out, and there may be nothing to take away there. But Austin Eckler not practicing throughout the whole week could be
big.
A good thing. But let me say this.
Joshua Kelly had a pretty good game. So.
Yeah. Joshua Kelly, fluke game. Let's just be honest. We've seen what Joshua Kelly is before. It's kind of like Chris Hubbard. I'm going to chalk Chris Hubbard up as a fluke game.
Okay.
Joshua Kelly is probably a fluke game based on the history of what we've known Josh Kelly to be. And that game was just wild. Nobody could stop anybody pretty much until like the very last minute. But if Austin Eckler is a guy that always tends to just show up, so I wouldn't discount that even if he do not practice all week, if they don't announce him as out, he's probably playing on Sunday, or at least he's a game time decision.
Daniel, of course. Hello, Daniel. How you doing? Says Bosa did have a terrible game last week against the Dolphins left tackle, which was Titans legend Kendall Lamb. That's right. They were playing without their left tackle. I will say they did. Mack and Bosa did combine for 10 pressures last week. Now, Tua got the ball out extremely fast 2.45 seconds. Tannehill was over 3 seconds last week, so that needs to change quickly because, again, Andre Dillard, whoever they put over there on Andre Dillard, the problem I have with Dillard going back to, and this is going to get into sort of your game plan here, which is short passing, run the football. We'll get into the defensive side of things, but on offense, it's the quick passing game and it's running the football. That's kind of what we expected last year in this matchup. It's sort of what happened. To your point, Vrabel just has this magical way of attacking these really explosive offenses, a lot of which you might say are finesse offenses to some degree. Herbert, by the way, again, one more historical fact here. Herbert's the only quarterback in NFL history to start his career with 4,000 yards passing in 3 straight seasons. And only he and Manning have done 25 touchdown passes in 3 straight seasons to start their career. So I'm just saying that to put like the historical perspective on Herbert and Eckler and some of these weapons that they have on offense. And Vrabel has been very good at stopping them. Andre Dillard, the problem with Dillard last week when you rewatch it is the amount of different ways he was beat is really the problem. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to do a rip on the first drive. Then the next time I'm going to do a bull rush. Then I'm not going to do a spin move. And then I'm just going to jump over you the next play. Then I'm going to slap your hands on the 5th drive. Like, it was every single different which way you could get beat. He got beat. He gave up 6 pressures. And while the Saints defensive line is solid, and to your point, I think this is the right way to look at it. The Chargers aren't necessarily better, but they have more talent at certain positions. And Bosa and Mack are more talented than the Saints.
I mean, don't you think that Bosa and Mack are both going to be on the left side or both be on the right side? That's how I would construct a defense. I would have them basically be on the same side and just crash that side for the Tennessee Titans. Just swap it every so often.
You may not even have to do it. That's the concern. Like,
now, but if they generate turnovers.
If they put, yeah, it's true. If they put 2 guys over there, Titans do. The Titans have a tight end or a back, and they're sort of double teaming. They're giving Dillard help. Then maybe that's when you bring a second guy over there. But I don't like if they're just going to do what they did last week, the Titans. I don't think you need the second guy to create that problem. I mean, again, like it wasn't just that he got beat. It was that it didn't matter what move the Saints put on him. It kind of worked. And so, and honestly, what it did is I kind of softened my Tannehill angst a little bit because you go back and look and there's still a lot of those plays where he's rushed out of the pocket. He picks up 2 yards because he scrambled. That could have been a sack. It wasn't a throw, not because of Tannehill, but because the pocket blew up. So again, it's all about pass the football quickly. He's got to get the ball out of his hand quicker than 3.1 seconds, which is what it was last week against the Saints. And we can get now to the one area of Tim Kelly's offense that I thought you could argue, which is maybe use Derrick Henry a little bit more. I know that for 5 years we've been begging them to go away from that and be more modern and be more pass heavy on first down. And you could still do that and give him more than 17 touches.
It's to be more cognizant of what's unfolding in the game. And I feel like the Titans offense, even under Arthur Smith, has this issue where they see that something is not, or maybe they don't, maybe that's the issue, but everybody else sees something that is not working. And they continue to just do what's not working. And in a close game like this that we saw in the Saints game, the easy answer is to put the ball in the hands of your 2 running backs who are having your best success.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at the success rate on rushes for Derrick Henry, 60%, right? 60% is pretty good on a rush. Like 60%, you're going to have a successful play. Tyjae Spears on his 3 rushes, 66.7. Now, the expected points added on a Spears rush is 0.41. It's negative 0.07 for Derrick Henry, but still not as bad as what the offensive line is. What the passing game was.
Yeah.
And that was evident. Like, to me, that was evident. So, out of the gate, I think that you're going to see almost kind of like a back to basics game, sort of like it's run some more, because they just signed what's that? Is he Patrick Jacques or Jacques Patrick?
Jaquez Patrick played at Florida State.
Patrick.
Yeah, 240 pounds, kind of like a Dante Foreman type.
Yeah, they brought him in, took out Jordan Roos.
Yeah.
Now, this makes me wonder if they're going to bring him in as a fullback and really load up some stuff and go really heavy and go bruising. Like they're going to bruise some people. Like, and I think that's the way you have to do it, because ultimately you can look at the thing and say, oh, well, the Chargers, they were last week, the Chargers were one of the best run defenses because EPA per play allowed. I think they were the second or third best. So you can't run on this team anymore. Well, dude, is Raheem Mostert with 10 carries? Like, slow down here.
Tua threw for 466. They weren't even trying to run the football.
Different teams, different game plans. And I am much more comfortable with Andre Dillard as a run blocker than I am as a pass blocker. Same with Chris Hubbard. Same with this whole offensive line, really. You have to run the ball, and that's how you build a win.